Vittala Vittala Panduranga, 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 Vittala 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 Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Vittala Vittala Panduranga, Vittala Vittala Panduranga, Vittala 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 Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Pandarinata Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Pandarinata Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai 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 Panduranga, Vittala Vittala Panduranga, Vittala Vittala Panduranga, Vittala Vittala Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Yadukula Tilaka Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Yadukula Tilaka Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai 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 Panduranga, Vittala Vittala Panduranga, Vittala Vittala Panduranga, Vittala Vittala Panduranga, Vittala Vittala Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Hari Jai Panduranga, Patita Pavana Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai Panduranga, Patita Pavana Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai 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 Panduranga, Vittala Vittala Panduranga, Vittala Vittala Panduranga, Vittala Vittala Panduranga, Vittala Vittala Panduranga, Hari Jai Jai 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 Panduranga. Jai Jai Jai. That's the first time, that's a new one. Oh, another something. What will it be? We're doing one more, sir, if you want to play something. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Om.
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। These are from yesterday. online question. If the Jnani sees everything as Bhagavan, what's the problem with bowing down to people, objects, etc.? Not searching for blessing, but as a spontaneous gesture. This is following the morning class where we learned that the Paramahamsa does not bow down. Well, the Jnani sees everything as Bhagavan, true. The Jnani sees herself and himself as Bhagavan too. So either you are bowing down constantly to everything all the time, or you are not bowing down at all. So, but actually in the vows that are taken for sannyasa, you say as much that you are not going to bow down. Because there is this savior mentality that can sneak in very, very easily. So until, and then there is also the ego that can come in. I am senior, somebody should bow down to me. And I am junior with respect to somebody else, and I should bow down to that person. All that is removed from the equation. And then there are certain, taboos. One of them is for bowing down. No bowing down, because when you bow down, there is along with that, there is a feeling of helplessness that could possibly sneak in. So that is why it is not encouraged. It's not a big deal. It's just that you see everything as Bhagavan, but you don't see yourself as a jiva either. You see yourself as Bhagavan and everything as Bhagavan. And why can't you spontaneously bow down? That happens all the time. The Jnani is said in the Shastra to be close to a mad person, spontaneous, joyful, and then does whatever they feel like. There are no rules or, injunctions or prohibitions. This is just advice that is given for sannyasa and sannyasi life. That's what it is. There must be some reason, and that's the reason I can think of. Then, as a jnani wannabe, it's sometimes challenging to discern the best way to behave in each situation in order to follow the flow, yet not become a passive being. Especially hard to know whether I act using the knowledge of the self or my own samskaras. Yes, this is $1 million question. I'm sure everyone has the same question. So, question 2, part A. What can help with discernment? And part B, what is, in your opinion, the best conduct in a situation like this? Due to a delayed flight, one has missed the connecting flight. One has obligations on the final destination. There is another flight about to leave, but the airline is short on staff. One can go to the airline help desk and ask to be treated now and to be put on the coming flight, meaning going before other people and putting oneself in the place of possible argumentation, or one can wait for a few hours to be called and assisted. What to do? That is the thing. Well, it depends on the situation. And you can go, say, I would like to go on this. And if you are able to be accommodated, yes. Otherwise, you go on the next flight. So it's not so... And for discernment, the Gayatri mantra is wonderful. Just keep chanting Gayatri mantra. May I be in the right place at the right time always. May I be able to make correct decisions. Please give me discernment, because without discernment, nothing can go in life. Is grace stronger than karma? How to tap into the grace? Grace is tapped into by prayer. Grace, I don't know about stronger, but I think that it is, the grace is very much there that can neutralize karma if it is not too strong. Tapping into the grace is through prayer, no other way. Prayer is the, what is that called? Pickaxe that digs and allows the grace that is there to spring forth. Next one. I struggle to maintain inspiration to study and meditate consistently. How can I, quote unquote, get inspired when I don't feel it? A wonderful question, very honest. And I should commend the person to be able to write this so clearly with so much courage and honesty. Yeah, this is not just your problem. This is many people's problems. Only you are talking about it. So this is wonderful. That because when you talk about it, half the battle is already won, because the problem is now made into what is called a social fact. Yes, I don't get inspired and I struggle to do this. And it's not just you. Like, a lot of people have struggled, especially during the pandemic. One has had to switch on to an online mode, which many people don't find it very friendly, and they are not able to relate to it. So you're not the only one. Having said that, you can give yourself some treats. If I do 1 hour of Vedanta Shravanam, let's put a chocolate at the other end of it, or a walk, or something that you really enjoy. Give yourself a treat. And so when you give yourself a treat that you can look forward to, or an activity that you enjoy, at the end of it, then it becomes extremely easy to say, okay, this is something I can look forward to. You have to reward yourself with, what should I say, positive reinforcement. But at the same time, if you end up not studying, not meditating, you must not give yourself negative reinforcement, then it will not work at all. So a lot of self-compassion and this, and also sometimes what happens is that the inspiration goes away because the bar is set too high. If you start off by saying, after this retreat, I have taken type 1 Vividisha Sannyasa and I'm not going to have any kamya karma, no desirable things I'm going to do, and then I'm going to maintain the Gurukulam schedule because it's wonderful. And so I'm going to do this. I'm going to have 3 classes a day while taking care of groceries and cooking, cleaning, whatever else one has to do. It will not work. It's too high. Even meditation, if you say, I'm going to meditate for 1 hour, it's a setup. Because you're dealing with the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is the one that is not inspired. The inner child says, this is not happening, and I'm going to make sure that you're going to fall flat on your face each time you make this sankalpa. And it will win. So therefore, you try this. You try 1 minute meditation. Acronym is OM, O-M-M. 1 minute meditation. You put a timer. You have all these gadgets, the smartphone does all these things. You put a timer, you sit down and say, 1 minute I'm going to sit down, I'm not going to get up, and I'm going to try to not get distracted, and even if I feel uninspired, I'm going to plug along. You can do anything for 1 minute. This is, you can tell yourself that. Then when you succeed, there is a sense of reinforcement. The ahankara feels good. Yes, I have managed to meditate for 1 minute. Then here is another mistake people make. People say, okay, now I've mastered 1 minute, now let me try 48 minutes. No. If you mastered 1 minute meditation once a day, then do 1 minute meditation 2 times a day. Then after having mastered that, do 1 minute meditation 3 times a day in this kind of an increment. You do that 1 minute frequently, just 1 minute. And in fact, qualitatively, you will find that you are able to be less distracted, more in samadhi, more with the mantra, and the benefits are also more. Because truth be told, even if you sit for 48 minutes, Perhaps it's only for 1 minute that the meditation is taking place anyway. Fighting, fighting, fighting. So this is with regard to the meditation. Please try it and then let me know how it works for you. I would love to hear from you. I would like some feedback. So this is for meditation. Then Vedanta Shravana, also something similar. And the 1 minute doesn't work here, because that's how long it takes to say some of the Shanti mantras. Especially for Taittiriya Upanishad and all these things. And so, there what you have to say is that you can do like 15 minutes. Usually the class is how long? 1 hour long. You break it into 4 pieces in your mind. So you're listening to a recording or you're listening to a YouTube video, and then you just stop at 15 minutes. Jump around, get up, give the inner child some air time and let it do whatever it wants, and then come back and sit down for another 15 minutes, either soon after a short break or after a longer break. And so this way, if you do 15-minute increments, you'll find that it's easy and there is more inspiration. Second idea, second suggestion is to take notes. When you take notes, the retention and the engagement is much more than just sitting and listening. When you're sitting and listening, there is a certain passivity, nothing wrong, but then when you are engaged, there is much more, when you're writing down, there is much more of an engagement. It's very, very, very nice. So then, that is that. Then, one more way to do this is to look for the correct time to sit and study. Because every body, and I don't mean everybody, every body has a certain cycle. Notice when the peak is in terms of attention. Body-mind complex has a certain cycle. When is there a peak in attention? When is it that you're inspired? When is it that you're most engaged? Keep the Shravanam at least in the beginning for that time. And then later on you can expand to other times. Then the last thing is that you have a listening partner. Oh, but I live alone. That doesn't matter. You have so many people on Zoom. You have met. And even if you haven't met anybody, pay somebody to listen along with you. Then, after 15 minutes, you can give them a call and check in, or after 1 hour after listening, you can exchange notes, you can find out what you thought about the video. It will be like a Vedanta listening club, Vedanta book club. That's exactly how it functions. And so, these are some of the ways to get inspired, quote unquote, because you are already inspired. There may be other things going on. There may be that's another thing to look into. What else is going on? Why is there a lull? Is there some fear? Is there perhaps some kind of a spiritual transition which is difficult? Is there some stress? That also can be taken care of. Is there lack of sleep? And those issues can be taken care of separately. Is it possible to give an overview about Lord Dakshinamurthy and the meaning? Yes. Be nice to do it now because it is still open. So, the word Dakshinamurthy means the two meanings. Dakshina Abhimukha Murti. South facing deity, south facing Lord, one meaning. You see, now we can easily know the direction, that is south. Immediately we can say that is south. And if Dakshinamurthy is facing south, if you are facing him, you are facing north. North is the region of moksha, freedom. Then, this is one meaning. Another meaning is Dakshinascha Amurtascha. That which is Daksha. Daksha means skilled, clever at cutting the cords of samsara. That's where the skill lies. Cutting dysfunctional connections so that one can be as whole as, the Shastra says. So cutting dysfunctional relationships and dysfunctional identification, the one who is an adept wire cutter of misfiring identifications, badly crossed wires. He cuts. And then, what is his form? Amurtaha, no form at all, because he is in the form of Atma that has no form. He is, in other words, a form which is you. He is you. That is the idea. He, she is you. So this is with regard to the name. Then there is one more name for Lord Dakshinamurthy. It's called Ashtamurthy. And this brings us to the next point in the form. If you look, all the 5 elements are there. Earth is the monolith stone out of which the carving has been done. Then that's why we chant the Ganga Stotram. Mother Ganga he is holding in his hair. Now you can't see because there is bilva leaves, there are flowers. But if you come for the morning Abhisheka, you'll see a little Ganga there. And that little face you see is Mother Ganga. The goddess Ganga means the flow of knowledge. And when Ganga came on the earth, when the knowledge of the Atma came to the earth, nobody was prepared to receive it. It was too much for all the samsaris. So Lord Shiva, in the form of Dakshinamurthy, made space in his dreadlocks to make the flow of this knowledge easier to handle. So that is water. So we have earth, we have water, and if you look at the right upper hand, there is this drum, damaru. That is space. Because space and sound go together. So that represents space. And on the upper left hand, what do you have? Fire. Yeah, you have fire. So we have fire, we have space, and the air is depicted with a tie across the head, where the dreadlocks, unlike Nataraja, if you see Nataraja, the dreadlocks are flying because he is in motion, he is spinning. But here, it's very comely, tied into with a nice band. And in America, they call it bandana. Actually, it is a Sanskritam word, bandhana. Okay? Yes. From now on, please do not call it bandana. You can do so in American circles, but not while referring to Lord Dakshinamurthy. Bandhana, a tie. That is an indirect way of showing air, the air element. Air, fire, water, earth, and space. 5 elements. And then we have 2 celestial bodies. What are they? Sun and moon. How many does that make? 7. But he is called Ashtamurthy. Why? Where is the 8th element? Huh? You fulfill that which is Bhagavan. You make Bhagavan whole. Without you, there is no Bhagavan, because Bhagavan is limitless, and if you exclude yourself, then Bhagavan becomes finite and limited. This is so beautiful. You are the 8th aspect. The one who is looking at the Lord with love, with reverence, that is the 8th one. That's why his name is Ashtamurthy. Then I already talked about how one half is Shiva, the other half is Shakti. And this is seen through the earrings. And then if you look down, there are 4 sages sitting. Do you see the sages? Sanaka, they are seen as the sons of Lord Brahmaji. Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, Sanat Sujata. Don't ask me which one is which. Whichever one you want, you can tell. They will not argue. Okay? So then, so there are 4 sages sitting, and then 5 minutes, please. Thank you. Yeah. So, there are 4 sages sitting, and they are all elderly people. All of them elderly. Why? Because they are quote unquote old souls. Meaning they have been born and born and born and born, not having gained the knowledge, running here, there. They are old jivas. So here they are sitting in front of the Lord, waiting for this knowledge to come. And the Lord is holding in the lower left hand the Vedas, giving the Vedas, the knowledge to the world. Very beautiful, very graceful. And then the lower right hand is in Chin Mudra. Sometimes people get confused because English has become such a predominant language. One time a person asked me, if it is Chin Mudra, why isn't he holding it here near the chin? You know, it's not chin, it's Chit plus Mudra. It's nothing to do with the chin, okay? Chin Mudra is nothing to do with the chin. Chit plus Mudra, because of Sandhi, Chin Mudra. Have you heard of American Sign Language? Yeah? American Sign Language? No? Yeah. So this is for the deaf community. There is a sign language. It's called ASL, American Sign Language. So this mudra is VSL, Vedantic Sign Language. The sages were so evolved, they had done so much inner work. What we have been talking about in the classes, they have done. And so, the Guru is what is called Mauna Vyakhyana. Not speaking, but teaching. Teaching can take many forms. The pramana is here, in this case, communicated subtly through the mudra. This is the enquiring finger, and this is the pointing finger. This is ahankara. And then this is body, mind, sense complex, all these things. Or you can take sthula, sukshma, karana, sharira, any kind of, there are many groups of 3s. And the ahankara is always connected to the body, mind, sense complex, with the subtle body, gross body, and with the ignorance, which is the causal body. Always addicted to that. And this is seen as Brahman, Ishvara, because it has a different origin. Even if you look the bone structure, this looks funny, and it is somehow asanga, unconnected from these, totally unconnected. And in fact, maybe the fingers make fun of the thumb. You are not one of us. But if a thumb were to stop working, you can't even pick up a pencil from the floor. You will be groping. Satta spurti pradhanena, with the lending of its presence. Satta, lending of its existence. Spurti, meaning its functionality, sentience. So the thumb, helps the hand be whole and function. So what is the teaching? The teaching is for the ahankara, who has misidentified with the body, mind, sense complex. And then first it is made to bend, namaskara. Then it is told, you have nothing to do with any of this. This is tattvamasi in sign language. So you have come a full circle. See, that is what is the teaching. And then finally, if you look underneath the foot, there is a being. First you think it's a cute baby, but upon looking closely, the fellow looks dangerous. He has mustaches, defensive. He's got a, what is that, shield. In another hand, he has got a dagger and a shield. This is the inner child. This is the collective unconscious mind. over which the Lord has put the right foot. He says, heel, pun intended. H-E-E-L, H-E-A-L, both. That is what it is. So this is how to get rid of the unconscious. Done. Yeah, thank you. So this is how to integrate the unconscious. You keep it at the feet of the Lord. Thank you very much, Mama. So this is what you do. You allow that, you do Sharanagati of all the intractable emotions. Emotions that you cannot, you absolutely cannot manage. They come like a tsunami, and then you give it there. That little demonic being has a name, Apasmara. Apasmara means that which haunts through memory. What a name! Apasmara. From spirit to remember. So that which haunts repeatedly through coming in the mind, in terms of patterns, in terms of pain, in terms of sorrow. And that is what one has to resolve. You see how fitting it is to be a Murti for knowledge, to be the presiding deity for Arshavidya Gurukulam or any place where we learn all these things, how to integrate fully. This is Dakshinamurthy. And we chant the Mula Mantra every day, and once a month we have the Mula Mantra Japa collective. Even in Eugene we do that. And so this is how it goes. You can repeat, Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye Mahyam Shriyam Medham Prajñam Prayachha Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye Mahyam Shriyam Medham Prajñam Prayachha Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye Mahyam Shriyam Medham Prajñam Prayachha Swaha. Om, sound of blessing, salutations unto Lord Dakshinamurthy, Bhagavan Dakshinamurthy, Bhagavate, fourth case. And then Mahyam, for me, Shriyam, abundance. Because abundance is needed. Abundance is not just money. Abundance is Lakshmi in all her forms. There cannot be a poverty mentality, and such a person is not ready for Vedanta really, because that is like Alakshmi, Lakshmi's elder sister who is always having a victim mentality. Because the poverty in thinking always is accompanied by victim mentality. I can't give, I don't have. You see, the two thoughts go together. So, Mahyam Shriyam, let me have abundance. Abundance of thought, abundance of action, abundant space, abundant time, abundant resources, all for the sake of gaining this knowledge. All kinds of resources, let me be there, let it be there for me. Then, Shriyam, Medha. Medha Shakti is very important. Medha is Buddhi. Without Buddhi, one is Buddhu. Buddhu means dunce. Okay? Buddhi is very important because this knowledge is a cognitive affair. It's not, touchy-feely, experiential thing. It is more of a cognitive. The mind has to be sharp and the mind has to be go with the flow of the teaching. So Medha Shakti is is discussed in two ways. One is Grahana Shakti, the readiness to grasp. And the other one is Dharana Shakti, the readiness to retain, the ability to retain what, you can grasp all right, But then as soon as you go outside and wear the shoes, it's gone. So the ability to the retention power is also what we pray for. Then there is a third aspect, but you don't have to worry about that. The ability to talk about it, to express it exactly how it was taught, but that will come later. These two things we pray for. Dharana Shakti, Grahana Shakti, the ability to grasp, and Dharana Shakti, the ability to retain. Medham, then Prajnam. Prajna is the knowledge which is the outcome of Medha. Because of Shri and Medha, now please give me the knowledge of the self, and this knowledge of the self let me have in complete total measure. Prayacha. Prayacha means give me. Prakarshena yacha, give me right now. Please give it to me. And then the word swaha comes at the end, meaning I let go. I let go even of this desire. But my intentions are very, very clear. This also you can repeat for inspiration, etc. Significance of Pradosha Puja. I think same person is writing all this. Maybe not. So, Pradosha means evening. So it's an evening puja. First of all, we have to understand that. Pradosha is evening time. And it commemorates another very allegorical thing that happens, that has happened in the Puranic history. And what is that? There is that story of the churning of the ocean, right? You know that? And the story goes like this. On the one side, the Devas. Devas are godly beings, sattvic beings. On the other side, Asuras. Asura means Asushu Ramante iti Asuraha. Asu means breath, meaning they are only interested in sense fulfillment. So these are the Asuras. So both of them, strangely, they never saw eye to eye naturally. One is a set of dharmic beings, the other is adharmic beings. How can they see eye to eye? Not possible at all for them to see eye to eye. But sometimes such even the opposite people make a pact, and here one of those rare times the Devas and Asuras made a pact to work together. What could be so important that they actually set aside all their differences and came together? Because they wanted Amritam, the nectar of immortality they wanted. And where was it? At the bottom of the ocean. So then you have to churn the ocean for it to come up. How to churn the ocean? It's not like you're trying to make, you have a churning rod, or better still an electric mixer or something like that. You don't have that. And this is an ocean. So they looked around. And Asuras sometimes are good, because they just are so immediate. They just grab what they want. And the Asuras pulled, broke off a big mountain. And that was the churning rod. Then a poor python by the name of Vasuki was resting there. Big one, big fellow. And they took him as the churning string, because you need the rod. It's very gracefully done. So you wind the string 2.5 times, and then you just, move the string. You don't have to touch the rod at all. And the rod just moves semicircularly in place. Very graceful to watch. So this poor Vasuki, which was a very poisonous python, got conscripted to be the churning rope. Then the Devas tricked the Asuras. Asuras means all ego. I bet you're not brave enough to hold the mouth side of Vasuki. No, no, no. Who said we are not? Yes, we are brave. We will take the mouth side. And the Devas heaved a sigh of relief and held on to the tail. Easy. Yeah. Then the churning started. And Vasuki wasn't liking this one bit. Naturally, can you blame it? It's being pushed, pulled, and its stomach is being pressed and rubbed against the mountain, and it's being dunked into the ocean and brought out, and then it was not having a very good time. So it would breathe out heavily, and then, and cry. And each time it breathed out, it would be toxic fumes, and the few asuras fainted, and the rest of them, with little hankies, they were revived. Come on, come on, come on. Don't you want nectar of immortality? Get up, get up, get up. So this is how it continued. And then the Devas there were not having a picnic of it either, because it would flail its tail badly, and then it would hit some of the Devas. And there was some CPR and everything was needed, little first aid. This is how it was going. And then it took a long time for the Amritam to come out. Before that, so many useless things came out. Things of people's dreams, wish-fulfilling cow, cash cow. That's how the expression came. Yeah. And wish-fulfilling cow came, and then so many small, small things came. Vasu Devatas came, so many, lower rung celestials capable of giving small, small blessings came. All these things came, one by one by one. Then after that, before the Amritam came, nectar came, a terrible poison by the name of Hala Hala came. Very, very toxic. In fact, as soon as it came out, see, all the asuras were fainting because of Vasuki's breath. Seeing Hala Hala, Vasuki himself, poor fellow, fainted. You can imagine how toxic it was. Then the fumes spread everywhere, and the churning could not go on at all, because it was just impossible. It was just so terrible. And everybody fainting, everybody dying on the spot. And Shiva Shiva, everybody cried. Lord Shiva comes very quickly. His name is Ashutosha. Somebody tells his name and he's very pleased. 911 Bhagavan. Comes quickly. Shiva Shiva, they said. And he said, yes, somebody called me. Well, there is this matter of a terrible poison. We don't know where to dispose of it. If we put it in the ocean, the whole ocean will just get polluted and toxic. It can't be on land, it can't be on the sea, it can't be in the air. What to do? Oh, he said, it can be in me, no problem. And he just poured it. It came in a pot, I suppose. And then he just swallowed it. Swallowed it? Almost. And then his Shakti, Parvati, put her hand here. Meaning, she neutralized it, localized it, so that it wouldn't go anywhere. So that's why Lord Shiva has a blue Adam's apple, giving him the name Neelakantha, the blue-throated one. So then after that, Bhagavan Vishnu, in the form of Dhanvantari came and holding the pot of the nectar of immortality. And to conclude with the story, everybody got excited. And then there was a little list of who can have it and who can't have it that came along with the pot. The adhikaris for it. And the asuras were clearly not adhikaris. They were not qualified to have this at all. So there was a tent erected, all the devas sat down and ready to receive the nectar of immortality. But of course the story has to have a little twist. One asura changed into, probably beat up a deva, robbed his dress, and then came and sat down in the deva tent, looking as good as possible. And when the Amrita was distributed, he also had a few sips before they found out that he was an impostor. Vishnu sent his disc, Sudarshana Chakra, and decapitated the impostor. But he was already immortalized because he had a little bit of what? He tasted the nectar. So then the head went into space and is in circulation till now, causes eclipses, and its name is Rahu. Actually his real name was Swabhanu. Swabhanu means self-effulgent. But then the tail, the rest of the torso, became another being that also is in the firmament, causing eclipses and other problems in individual horoscopes. Making the horoscope into horoscope is these two planets only, shadow planets. And then this is the story. And then one more small detail, pertinent for us, is that when the blood was shed, it somehow had miraculous fertilization powers. And a new plant apparently came up. What was that? Garlic. That is why students of Vedanta do not eat garlic, because it comes from the tamasic, asuric beings. Unless those tendencies come within us. So we don't eat garlic for that reason. Okay? It's little, what should I say? Rahu ketu trivia. This is the story. But really it is rife with all kinds of metaphors. The ocean is the unconscious mind because you don't know what lies in there. And then the devas and asuras are different beings within oneself. The dharmic and the adharmic parts of oneself, vying for power, vying for some kind of a adhipatya, rulership. There is a conflict, and then they decide to come together. Okay, we really want this knowledge. This Amrita is the knowledge of the Upanishads, given by Bhagavan Vishnu, Narayana himself, in the form of the healer, because this knowledge heals like nothing else does. And of course it's at the bottom of the unconscious, so the unconscious mind has to be churned, and what is called in Western psychology, the dark night of the soul has to be gone through, and then you come out of the other side, and all these useless desires come to the fore because they are being entertained by the mind. They have to be, and they have to be kind of apportioned, because some the devas took, some the asuras took, like this it is there. And then the hala is indeed the core of the unconscious mind. The chronic patterns, the toxic ways the trauma, all these things which are very, very scary and very, very hard to look at. And that is why we need the help of Bhagavan to neutralize that. So Lord Shiva neutralized that unconscious so that we can get to the what's its name? We can get to the Amrita very, very easily. Once the unconscious mind is resolved, the knowledge of the Upanishad comes very, very nicely and easily. And then, of course, are the asuras gone? No. They are still there, causing problems. The shadow self is still there. But then because of the blessing of this knowledge, because the shadow self is Ishvara Srishti. The unconscious mind is Ishvara's creation, so that the child could grow up with a sense of functionality, and then process the pain much later as an adult. So therefore, the shadow self is still there. The point is not to get rid of it. The point is to learn to live with it and to integrate it into the adult. So that evening, it happened during the 13th day of either the waxing or the waning moon. It happened on the 13th day of the moon cycle, and that's why this day we ask for the unconscious mind to be resolved. It's a very powerful puja, what we saw today, very powerful day. And so my prayer is, may Lord Dakshinamurthy have blessed everybody today. That is what the Pradosha puja. Yeah, you have 2 questions you want to say on mic. Can we do it tomorrow? Yeah, that will be great. Yeah, I'll keep this separate as a reminder, or you will be there tomorrow, you can remind. Yeah. Today's world focuses on the concept of self-love as a way of healing broken lives, loves, etc. How does Vedanta view this notion of self-love, and what does it prescribe to those seeking self-love and healing? Self-love is important. Without self-love, nothing, no teaching can take place. Self here is not Atma, which is already lovable, but we are talking about the, more often than not, unlovable self. Unlovable self. The body, unlovable aspects of the I, the body, the mind, the senses, one's occupation, one's parentage, one's background, one's fears, one's diffidence, one's way of moving in the world, which could be because of certain trauma and patterns, etc. All this, comes in the way of gaining the knowledge. If we look at nachi, keta, we see what it is like to have grown up, to be a young lad, but not have had much trauma in the childhood. He is the picture of wonderful emotional health. It's really, really nice to see that. He keeps on bugging his father because he sees that the father is doing a big giveaway, which is part of the ritual, to go to Brahmaloka. And we have seen how attractive Brahmaloka is for most people. So he did a ritual to go to Brahmaloka, and you had to get rid of all your possessions. So he saw the cows being given away. That too, old cows, because all the other nice cows were given away, and at the end of the night he saw old cows being given away. And he thought, maybe I can also be given away. He didn't understand that, it's not, children are not property, and they are not to be given away. He didn't know that. He was really small. He kept on bugging his dad. Kasmai mam dasyasi, tata, kasmai mam dasyasi. Unto whom are you going to give me away, daddy? Tell me, tell me, tell me. First time father said, not now, not now. Then the father lost it. I'm going to give you to Lord Yama. This is the way of saying, go to hell. And the child said, okay, great, here I go. And the father says, no, 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 I didn't mean it. I really didn't mean it. And the child becomes a teacher for the father. The child says, this is, look around you and look at your ancestors. Has anybody said something and not done it? No. So you have to have verbal integrity. When you say something, you should do it. And so you have said, you are going to send me to Lord Yama, and I am going. So he goes there. Yama is not at home. He is out on work. And then, so he has some time to reflect. And this passage I really like from the Kathopanishad. He says, Bahunamemi prathamaha, Bahunamemi madhyamaha. Meaning, I wonder what Lord Yama wants from me. Among many people, yes, I can be first, and among many others, I can be second. It shows a healthy self-esteem. He is not arrogant, I'm first all the time. I rank first among all the boys. No. And neither is he all groveling, nobody loves me and I'll not stand a chance. No. He says, maybe sometimes I will come second or third, doesn't matter. But I am, this is a very healthy sense of self-esteem, which is connected to his quick assimilation of the knowledge. So there must be a healthy sense of achievement, a healthy sense of belonging, a healthy sense of esteem, a healthy sense of participating, a healthy sense of contributing. And later on, all that is thrown away. All that is given up because one is fulfilled from that. It has served its purpose. But you can't throw it away without having it first. One more paradox of Vedanta. So anything that gives self-love, such as, yoga, therapy, pranayama, anything, and any other kinds of activities, one must engage in. And that's how one gains the qualifications for this knowledge, to study this teaching. You mentioned that dharma is very important, being the first purushartha. What is the significance of the order of purusharthas and why is moksha last? Oh, what a lovely segue. Only Bhagavan can manage this. Yeah, very nice. So, yeah, dharma is the first purushartha. Why is moksha last? Well, because if moksha is not last, it will be lost. Yeah. One is not ready. So after dharma, after ensuring that everybody around me is treating me properly, etc., then what? Then artha kama pursuits come. Dharma, artha, security. Kama, any other kinds of desires, aesthetic desires, other things that one doesn't have to, but one pursues. Then after being unsuccessful at artha kama, what to do, then moksha shines as a possibility. That is why moksha is the last but not least. Moksha is not recognized. In fact, there are no 4 purusharthas. There's only one, and that is moksha. But if you tell a person this, they'll just say, go away. What's wrong with you? What is moksha? It is not moksha at all. I have so many things to achieve. And who wants moksha? I'm not interested in that. But really speaking, whatever you pursue is, whatever you want is moksha with a little guise, wearing a costume. Like children coming for trick or treat. They're wearing a costume. One time, the same child came 3 times in 3 different costumes. Very clever, to get more candy. And then when you look behind the mask each time, it's the same child. Just like that. Moksha wears the desire for moksha, when it's not recognized, is masquerades as wanting to be successful, wanting to make a lot of money, wanderlust, go here, go there, get this, get that, all these things. It's all really moksha. Unrecognized, it is, I want to go skydiving. Recognized, it is, I want to study Vedanta to free. But it is a process. One must go skydiving, one must get afraid and get thrilled, and then feel like one has conquered something, feel good about oneself, then come back, try it again, break an arm, and then come to Vedanta. Yeah. Does love require dualism? Yes. Yes. What about love in Vedanta? Now all the questions we'll have at the end in Vedanta. One is love anyway. That Ananda one is, manifests. The dynamic form of Ananda is love. It expresses itself spontaneously with regard to everything. Since we live in a manifest universe, that love is showered. However, it is showered. But that is rare. That kind of an unconditional love is rare. It is associated with jnani. It is associated with gaining this knowledge. It's not that love is a verb here. It cannot be a verb because you cannot love on command. It's a noun. It's not a verb, it's who you are. But without this knowledge, the love is always directed against a person, a thing, an object or a person, or an event or a place. And so yes, it requires the subject-object separation and recognition, so it does require dualism. How to know if one is a jnani, or how to know if another one is a jnani? If you are a jnani, you will know. You will know, because you're not having the same reaction to situations. You're not being affected by people or situations in the same way as before. How to know another jnani? Don't try, because only one jnani can know another jnani. Yeah. You can't know another jnani. It's difficult. Oh yeah, that is for tomorrow. You keep talking about simplifying and cutting out what is not necessary. I have 3 acres in the country, have been studying permaculture, and have started a 3-year project with a permaculture expert. It's a big project. Wondering if there is anything negative from the Vedantic point of view. Nothing is negative from that. Is the beauty of Vedanta. Nothing is negative. Nothing is other than itself. Permaculture is Vedanta. Vedanta is not permaculture. That is what we have to say. Everything is Atma. Atma is not any one particular thing. So if you enjoy doing it and if it's helping you to grow, then it's wonderful. It's a desire for many years. Much excitement about the potential nature to optimize nature, berries, nuts for me, the birds and butterflies. Realizing that this is impermanent. Yes, have fun. No problem. Permaculture is good. Maybe some people can get inspired. Yeah. Have fun. Also make some time to study. Yeah. I just procured a Rudraksha mala. Any tips on maintenance? Thankfully, it's not a BMW. So I don't have to say take it for oil change. Don't let it rust, all these things. Rudraksha mala, very easy to maintain. You don't have to do anything. Don't keep it always and put it in the water all the time. That will help. So if you're going to have a shower, take it out. If you're wearing it, that will help it last long. And doing japa on it also is very, very conducive. The Rudraksha is conducive for focus. Have fun, because it is low maintenance. Can you explain the as though phrase? I will as though try. It's a big topic. Because it talks about the nature of reality. There's only one thing that is real, which is you, and everything else is as though. As though. We'll talk more about it tomorrow, because in the time, it's already over time, and we can't do justice now. Everybody will be tired. So tomorrow ask it again, and then we will talk about it. Last one, or last two. Yeah, these are also big topics. This will also be carried over for tomorrow, these two. Okay. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet, asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritangamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.